Hello everybody and welcome to the D.G.S.R Sim Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione League race here at Brands Hatch. This is the third race weekend in the league, and just as a reminder, the race weekend goes as follows. The races get a practice session of 20 minutes, followed by a qualifying session of 15 minutes. Then they have a 20-minute race, followed by a second qualifying of 10 minutes, and a final race of 30 minutes. This is the grid for race 1. Let's have a look. In P1, we have Morris, followed by Long in P2. In P3, Quinn, followed by Joswick in P4. In P5, we have Daly, followed by Stevens in P6. In P7, we have Sanchez, followed by Muir in P8. We have McElligott in P9, and Barros rounds up our top 10 in P10. In P11, we have Pichon, followed by Norton in P12. Raiola in P13, followed by Worley in P14. Hale in P15, followed by Villessen in P16. In P17, we have Askham, followed by Durand in P18. In P19, we have Engel, followed by DL in P20. P21, we have Hillier, followed by Speaking Leash in P22. And finally, P23, we have Larone, followed by Ridge in P24. So you join me at the beginning of this first race at Brands Hatch. We've got Morris and Long heading up the pack, heading into Clark Curve before the Brabham Straight. Set up for an interesting race today. And here we go up to the line and away we go. Looks like Morris is off to a very good start. Long not far behind. Got Quinn and Joswick battling for third and fourth. Stevens up behind them as well. Stevens going for a move around Joswick. As we head now into Graham Hill Bend and Surtees. Let's go back down the grid then. So seems to have been kept relatively cleanly. Everyone riding all the way down to 15th, basically, quite happily. Even further back as well. No one looks like they've got any damage. The road must have had a good start, coming from P23 to P22. P21, sorry. As he's looking to catch up to Durand. Jump back up to the top then, where Morris has made quite a substantial lead on Long. 1.5 ways. Oh, it always goes wide there on the grass. That might give Long a bit of an opportunity to catch up. But still, 1.5 seconds gap made on the first lap, pretty much. Yeah, very good going. Quinn then is on the attack from Stevens. Let's ride on board with Stevens for a little bit as we head into Turn 1, Paddock Hill Bend. Almost hitting the cones there. And we go into the hairpin then. Well, he's getting right up the back of Quinn there. So we head now into Surtees and takes that corner pretty well. Is he going to be able to catch him up on the straight? Porsche being not amazing on the straight, but he manages to keep within the distance of Stevens. Someone hits the grass a little bit there. Ooh. Okay, let's have a quick look at another group. Cut back to Viola. He's running close behind Norton as we head into the end of lap 2 already. Seems to have lost some time there. Larone then up into P19 already in the first couple of laps. looking to catch up with Askham at some point. Ooh, as he goes not bad through there. Turn 1. Looked like he was going a bit wide, but he managed to keep it nice and tidy. Jump back to Hillier, who's on the back of DL as he goes through the hairpin. And then through Graham Hill and Graham Hill Bend. Oh, did I totally just miss the overtake there? We go through the hairpin. And then we go through Graham Hill Bend. And DL just slides wide there. It's quite a difficult corner to nail that one. And unfortunately he's lost that position. Jump back to Morris then. Riding in P1. Safe 1.6 seconds ahead of Long. Long as well, also 1.5 seconds in front of Stevens, who must have made the move on Quinn. Might be interesting to go have a look at that. Yep, so he's riding behind him towards the end of lap 2. Quinn just goes wide there in Sterling's, and Stevens is able to have a look around Clark Curve and is able to get him on, grab him straight. So be happy to make that move into lap 3. Ooh, as Quinn has a little look up the inside on turn 1, but thinks nothing of it. 20 minutes in the race, so got plenty of time. Well, who was that running quite wide? That was Daly. Let's jump back a few seconds. What happened there? So going into turn 1 behind Joswick, and just takes comes in on that corner a bit too much. And does he give Muir the thing? Not quite. Manages to hold the position for Muir, although they're both joined by McGilligan trying to get up the inside. Doesn't quite manage it. Right on board with McGilligan behind this 3 because it's an interesting little battle here for P6. He comes right up the back of Muir as we head now into don't know what you call this straight. It goes into Phillips Drop here and then into Hawthorne Hill. Ooh, right up the back. Very, very close racing here. Looks like Daly is just about managing to scrape. Oh, as Daly goes wide actually and loses the position to the 2 of them. And Pichon and Barros are also going to take that opportunity to overtake Daly. So he's lost quite a few places there. That's unfortunate. Jump back to Hale then, who's close up behind Norton. As we head back into Clark Curve for the ending of lap 3. Does he have the pace to get him on the straight? Looks like he might have him. Turn 1. Ooh, as they come very close. Oh. Well, they both managed to get through the corner cleanly. That costs a bit of time. He might have a look up the inside around the hairpin. And he just doesn't quite make the move. Norton there defending. Very nice racing though, very clean. Alright, let's jump back up to the grey grid. Joswick is on the attack against Quinn. Looks like Stevens is not far but ahead of him as well. Good little battle for P3. Had it out of... Ooh, not quite makes that corner there, so gives a little bit of time back to Quinn and Stevens. A little bit of breathing room for Quinn. I'm going to jump back to Viola, I think, where there's quite a stream of cars here from pretty much from McElligott back to Viola. So P7 to P11. As we head into the straight for Brabham Straight for the last end of lap 4. All of these guys within about 1.5 to 2 seconds. Whereas it looks like McElligott is getting away from Barros now. Perhaps Barros is having to defend quite a fair amount against Pichon. We head into Surtees once more. Nice and clean through there. On the power at a good time. Looks like the Bentley just has either a little bit more straight line speed, or he gets a better exit out of Surtees. Jump back then to Daly, who's riding right behind Pichon. Maybe that's why Barros is able to get away from them a little bit. Still quite a big stream of cars, pretty much from P4, I think, back here in P10. Running all quite close together. Maybe Daly takes that corner a little bit slower than he could, I think. Let's jump back then to Hale, who's close up behind Norton still. Still trying to make that move around him. He was a little bit wide on the exit there. We're heading to Graham Hill Bend. Norton hits the grass a little bit. That might cost him a little bit of time, depending on how they go through Surtees. A little bit of oversteer. And gives Norton a bit of a gap. Let's try back to Engel, who's hot on the heels of Worley as we go through the Hawthorns. And Westfield, ooh, a little bit wide, but manages to keep it on track. Not hit the gravel too much. Might be looking to get by him on the straight, start-finish straight. Worley trying to defend, keeping on the inside line. Does Engel have the pace? Looks like he might. He goes around the outside. Interesting move, trying to get the better exit into take him on the hairpin. Again, Worley goes defensive on the inside. Not giving Engel not giving him the opportunity to overtake him there. Is the inside again there. Both as we head into Surtees, and Worley's managed to create a little bit of breathing room between the two of them. For the time being, anyway. Right, let's have a quick recap. So we're close to 7 laps in. Morris still running in P1. Good 5-6 seconds between him and Long, who's running in P2. Stevens 1.5 seconds behind Long in P3. Trying to make up some speed now that he's got a bit of a gap between him and Joswick, with 3 seconds behind. Close behind Joswick is Quinn. Joswick must have made that move at some point. Let's have a look if we can find it. Might have been some way back. Here we go. Yeah, somewhere in beginning of lap 6 by the looks of it. He says. There we go. End of lap 5, I wish to say. So Joswick's still in P5 there. Oh, yeah. Quinn goes wide, and with this pack at these sort of top few places, it's the same at Zandvoort. You make a little bit of a mistake, someone's flying past you, and it's unfortunate that Quinn's gone wide there. So we jump back into lap 7 then. So Joswick in P4 now, Quinn in P5, Mura up in P6 from P8 qualifying, McElligott up in P7 from 9th in qualifying, Barros in P8, Pichon in P9, And heading up our top 10 is Daly in P10. Close behind Daly, we've got Ryola in P11. Norton in P12. Still battling with Hale in P13. P14, we've got Worley. Followed by Engel in P15. Close behind him, we have Villassen in P16. Followed very closely by Durand in P17. P18, 4 seconds behind, we have Askham. Followed by Lerone in P19. Speaking English in P20, as just catch him as he goes wide and hits the barrier. That's unfortunate. And then DL in P21. Be looking to capitalise on Speaking English's accident there. 11 seconds behind him, we have Hillier in P22, followed very closely by Ridge in P23. And behind them we have Sanchez, who's 2 laps behind. He must have had a pretty bad first few laps. As looks like is he a back marker now? Is that Durand that's coming up as a back marker? He's very far behind. Must have pitted for damage or something. I must have missed that. Right, so back to close races then. So Quinn having a look to get past Joswick once more. As we are in the middle of lap 8 now. These guys have had a close battle so far. Like I was saying, all it takes is one of them just making a little bit mistake, going a little bit wide and hitting the grass or something, and the other one's just free to come sailing past. Okay, let's jump back to McGallagher, who's on the attack against Muir. He looks like he's just gone wide and hit the grass. Can McGallagher capitalise on this as we head into the straight once more? If you can even call it a straight, it's definitely curved. We head into Paddock Hill Bend. I think Muir gets a better line through there. Ooh, McGallagher very late on the brakes there as we head into the hairpin. Very close up behind the Muir. Having a little look, seeing if he can make that move. Maybe into Surtees. Muir doing a good job of defending there, keeping the inside line. Not letting McGallagher get anywhere near it. Depending on the exit of this corner, doesn't look like McGallagher's gaining. Might get him under braking. Ooh, not quite. Didn't want to risk it. Find it very difficult to overtake in these few corners because they're quite high-speed corners. So you don't want to risk it too much because you might hit the grass and end up spinning or something like that, and you don't want to hit someone out. Looks like Quinn there's gone wide again through Sterling's. And Muir will be looking to get that P5 position. Still quite a queue of cars with a similar pace. We've got Barros, who's not far behind McGallagher. And then Pichon, who's a second behind. He's just lost a bit of time. Possibly defending from Daly, who's even closer behind Pichon. Ryola again not far behind them. But then there's a fair gap between Ryola going quite wide there. That's going to cost him a lot of time. And Norton in P12, a couple of seconds behind them. Looks like Hale's... Ooh. I'd say looks like Hale's backed off, but maybe he had a bit of a trouble there. Yeah, his missed his locked up or something there, and missed his braking point or something, and headed straight for the grass. Let's jump back then to Ridge, who looks like he's just made a move on Hillier. There we go, so going through Sterling's, Hillier's just got a bit of oversteer and sat into the grass, and that's given Ridge the opportunity to sail past, heading into lap 10. I mean, quite close to the end of the race now. Morris has got a lead of 8 seconds Really, really, Long's going to do a lot to get through there. Well, Long's got Stevens for company, which probably isn't helping. He's managed to catch up with him. Let's ride on board with them a little while, as we quite close up to the end of the race. Stevens only got a couple of more laps to make that move. And then it seems that the fields at the front are spread out a bit. Now Joswick 4 seconds behind Stevens. Quinn close to 2 seconds behind Joswick. McElligott now in... Oh, McElligott's now made the move on Muir. Let's see if we can find where that happens. Okay, so into... I think we left them just before the overtake happened. Just jump forward a little bit. So we head into turn 1. Then into turn 2, the hairpin. Again, getting quite close up behind Muir. Not quite so close this time, but Muir goes a little bit deep. And then McElligott. Oh, Muir goes wide onto the grass. Ooh, almost a bad rejoin there, but they both managed to stay away from each other, and McElligott does a good job of keeping out of the way, and unfortunately that's cost Muir the position, but good racing all in all. Barros is quite close up behind them now as well, after that little battle. Muir's going to have to put on some of that defending again to make sure he doesn't lose another position after that little mistake. Once again, you know, top 10, a little mistake and someone's sailing past. Still close behind Barros is Pichon, followed very closely by Daly as well. Bit of a gap's formed now between Viola and Davey of about 1.5 seconds, and an even bigger gap between Viola and Norton. Hale's definitely backed off from Norton there. That's unfortunate. And he's actually got Worley for company soon. He's just half a second behind him. Let's jump back to Askham. He's close on the tail of Lerone. He's now in P18. Oh, who's that on the track? Is that Sanchez again? Oh no, he's had a terrible time of it. Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's jump back to Askham. We're going to see it again now, aren't we? Sorry, mate. Yeah, he's just staying out of the way there to... might have got quite a bit of damages. Okay, as we head now into lap 11. Ridge still got giving Hillier company at the back of the grid there, P22, P23. Other than that, the field is pretty spread out now. Let's have a look right on board with P2 and P3. Stevens, ooh, that was a bit of a slide there. Bit of a drift. Ooh, very hot on the back. You got to be careful around here. Stevens looks to make the move. As David manages to keep, Long keeps it. Manages to keep it the position. Both of them having a very good race there as they head all very close through there. And so I think Stevens will probably have a bit of better traction, I would have thought. But Long is not giving up anytime soon. Long's going to have probably a better position going into turn 1. As Stevens has a bit of oversteer, was that? But Stevens has made the move. Can Long grab it back? Keep a close eye on that one. McElligott then catching up on Quinn. Ooh, not a particularly good exit of that corner there. Got Barros for company behind him. Looks like Barros has taken Muir, as has Pichon actually taken Muir as well. Pichon looking at the... Oh dear! Oh, Pichon's got his nose in there, and he possibly didn't have that corner really. Come up the inside. Probably in Barros' blind spot. Barros has braked and turned into him, yeah. Unfortunately, that's Barros' corner there, really. But they've... gentleman's agreement. Pichon's let him go, but then he's got the pace on him, so... and take that spot, although he hits the grass there. Maybe Barros will get him back. Raiola. Oh, is it the back? Oh dear! Oh dear, what's happened there? So, got Muir, who's very close up the two of them as they're battling. There's another touch. Oh, as they break. Muir's hit Pichon. He's hit Barros. He's flying off. That's unfortunate for Pichon. It's going to cost him, looks like, a place or two, as and Norton's overtaken him as well. I think he's managed to stay in front of Hale and Wally, as Hale, Wally and Engel actually all quite close together towards the end of lap 12. Well, Stevens is down in P4. What's happened there? Let's jump back. So that was when he overtakes. He's overtaken along there. So halfway through lap 12. Long gets a better exit out of the 30s, I would say. Although, looks like the Porsche is managing to keep him ahead. I think Stevens had a few connection issues here. You can sort of see him juttering about a little bit. So we head now through Westfield, through Dingle and Sheen Curve. Oh yeah, Stevens goes wide out of the exit Sheen Curve and spins, giving Long, sorry, Joswick, Quinn, McCalliger, all of them, the position there. So Stevens has by that point dropped down to P5, I think. He heads into P12. Looks like Long then has got P2 in the bag, because he's not got 2 seconds between him and Joswick. Just to keep it clean for the next few laps, and he should be good. Right then, Muir still on the back of Barros. They head and catching up with Stevens as well. Raiola on the back of them, and Norton right at ending that pack of cars between P7 and P10. Again, still very close racing. These guys are keeping it nice and clean. Head now through Surtees. Engel, Wally and Hale all still very close together, with Hale up quite close behind Pichon as well. Again, another pack forming between sort of P11 and P14. Go through here. I'm bored with Wally for a bit. Have a look at the back of Hale. Oh, that's Stevens again. Oh no. So he's gone through the corner and oh yeah. So he's hit the grass going into Sterling's, and sometimes when you hit the grass you're just being sent. He's lost a few there. Oh, as he hits, as he re-enters. Who is this? So this is Barros, Wally, so I think is it Norton he hits? Yeah, re-enters. Doesn't quite have control of the car, and Norton is hit. Manages to keep hold of his position though, so that was fortunate for him, although let's hope he doesn't have too much damage. Pichon, Wally and Hale and Engel all still riding quite close together. Valessen 8 seconds behind him. Looks like Duran's recently overtaken him, so it's actually Durand in P15 P15, I think. Lerone up into P17. He's done pretty well this race. Again, coming up from P22, P23, I think he was on the back of the grid, and he's managed to keep it clean and get up to P17. Still followed closely by Askham. There's Daly a lap behind. He must have had a bit of a problem. And then DL, Speaking Leash, Hillier, Sanchez. Well, Sanchez has managed to get in front of Ridge, who's pitted actually. Must have had some damage there. He's pitted, which is giving Sanchez position back. Okay, let's jump up to P7. Have a look where we are with these guys. Still riding quite close together. We've got Barros in P6, followed by Muir and Raiola in P8. These guys are battling for P6. And they've been battling for quite some time, really. Although it's been cut down from sort of 4 or 5 of them down to 3. Hale closing in on Pichon by the looks. Still got Wally for company within a second. And Engel as well. Stevens now pitting. Must have taken too much damage and he's had to pit. That's really unfortunate. To manage to get up to P2 and then a couple of mistakes, been pretty punishing. Ooh, see, it's the wall once again. Must be some pretty bad damage. Joswick then has caught up with Long to seeing if he can make the move towards the end of the race. Right on board for a bit. So I think we head into the last couple of corners of the race. Yes, we do. He's not going to make it this time. So yeah, we've got Morris in P1. Let's roll back a little bit and see Morris come over the line. Oops, a daisy, sorry. So Morrison absolutely dominated this race, making up a couple of seconds in the first lap straight away and just stayed in the lead, and I think he wins with a lead of 16 seconds. As he heads into Brabham Straight for one more time. There we go, and there's the checkered flag. Behind him then, we have Long in P2. Who crosses the line quite a few seconds later. Close behind him, Joswick in P3 as he gets the checkered flag. He's had a very, very good race, Joswick. Quinn in P4. Had a bit of a shaky start, but managed to hold on. McElligott is up from, I think, P8, followed by Barros, Muir, Raiola in P9. Norton. Ooh, Norton's had a problem. Norton's had an issue there. I think he ran out of fuel. So unfortunately he misses out on the P9 there. As I think Pichon takes P9. Hale rounding off the top 10. Wally in P11. Engel in P12. I think Norton gets across the line in P13 just about. Durand in P14. Oh no, I think Durand and Villesen just about take P14 and P15 from Norton. Let's have a quick look at the results so we get the right thing. So yes, Morris in P1, Long in P2, Joswick P3, Quinn P4, McElligott P5, Barros in P6, Muir in P7, Raiola in P8, Pichon in P9, Hale in P10, Wally in P11, Engel in P12, Durand P13, Villesen P14, Norton P15, loses 6 places there, just for having a bit too little fuel. Lerone, very good race up into P16. Daly in P17, Askham in P18, DL P19, Speaking Leash in P20, Hillier in P21, Stevens P22. Oh, Stevens had had a horrible time towards the end there. It's unfortunate for him. P22, Sanchez P23, and Ridge in P24. So there we have it. That was the first race here at Brands Hatch. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next race.